Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tammy Talk Show. I hope you all are getting ready to tune in because we get ready to have some good conversation on voting tonight and asking the question, have you voted? So we're just gonna wait till more people tune in, and I'm so glad to have my guest back to the conversation by the name of Nate Crawford. We're going to talk tonight concerning the early voting and why it's important and why I'm so excited to feel like there's going to be change in the nation.
Please.
That we'll be seeing better days. So, the topic tonight is your vote matters. It doesn't matter what people are saying, or what the higher up are saying, or in the White House, they ain't say higher up like Jesus. I'm talking about, but the ones in the White House are saying, yes, your vote matters, and don't be afraid to go and vote because you have earned it as a United States citizen. We all supposed to vote. When you become a certain age, you have to vote. So come on, let's vote. Let's get on out there. But again, I want to say thank you to Nate Crawford for accepting the invitation to come back and talk with us today. I know that we're 12 days away from electing a new president, or by default, we end up with the same one. But I didn't say that. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into conversation. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing fine, Tammy. I had a phenomenal day today because I went and cast my vote today.
Oh, okay.
I left my apartment.
Uh-huh.
I walked 3 blocks
Mm-hmm.
over to City Hall where my local drop box is.
Mm-hmm.
It was patrolled by police, and they have police stationary there
Mm-hmm.
from 8 a.m. until 12:59. I'm sorry, 11:59 every night,
Okay.
because that's when the ballot throughout the day is when the ballots are picked up.
Okay.
But they do have police there to assure that your ballot is protected.
Okay.
So I went there. I greeted the two gentlemen that were standing there. We had a quick conversation. I cast my vote, and usually when I vote, I'll dedicate it to something. So I dedicated my last vote to my daughter and to my children. This vote, because it's so pivotal with everything that has happened this year,
Yeah.
I dedicated this vote to those who chose the sea. And when I say that, what I mean is the slaves who, instead of coming over here and being pillaged and being assaulted and being mistreated the way that they were, a lot of them jumped into the sea on the voyage over here.
Yeah.
So I dedicated my vote this time to them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I did my early voting too. I voted last week.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, it opened up very early, and I was one of the ones I couldn't get off work fast enough to get and cast my vote in. And here in Georgia, it stated that as of the day, today, more than 1 million Georgians have already voted.
Mm-hmm.
And and they said that's a record right there all by itself.
It definitely is. As of now, there have been over 45 million people who have already voted.
Wow.
That has never happened in the nation's history. Some of it is obviously due to COVID being an issue still in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe, and this is the gospel according to Nate, but I believe that a lot of people are just so excited to make changes.
Yeah.
That they don't want to wait. They don't want any issues at the polls. They just want their vote to count. Because like you said, every vote matters.
Yes, that is so true. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, we've been going through what we've been going through here for the last 4 years. And then when COVID hit in March, it seemed like everything just changed. Now we're down in October,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still no big changes. And the president make it seem like it's just another thing that's happening. But a lot of people have lost family members, and they've got to live through the rest of their life without having a person in their life. So they want to go make a difference, because we know if we keep this up, more people are going to die.
That's right.
Something don't get done about it. So go to your nearest voting facility and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nate. Okay, we're in the home stretch right now. How many people have voted as of today?
Like I said, it's just over 45 million.
Mhm.
But that number changes. It goes up every day. Because they're receiving ballots every single day. So, for example, my ballot today will be added to the list of voters either tomorrow or on Monday.
Okay.
And then you have the voters over the weekend whose ballots will get counted either Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. How many states are still doing the early voting?
So I'm glad you asked that, because that's a question that a lot of people get misconstrued all the time, because the media doesn't really express it. You have a lot of states that make it a little hard to understand, if you will. Every state has early voting.
Okay.
Every state has early voting. The difference is, what do they count as early voting? So, for example, in some states, early voting is if you can do a mail-in ballot. They consider that early voting.
Okay.
Whereas in Texas, and as you stated yourself, in Georgia, your polls literally are open early on certain days.
Mm-hmm.
Not every state is like that, but categoristically, every state has early voting. If you can do a mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot early, that is considered early voting. If your state does have polls actually open certain days in the beginning of, or usually it's about the beginning or the middle of October, then that also is indicated as early voting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I've heard some people and friends saying that they're going to go in November on the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So I made up in my mind that didn't want to get in that rush. But as soon as it was open here in Georgia, we had lines wrapped around the building.
That's right.
Wow. And then when I was the other day, there was a long line. So I'm glad that so many people are participating and getting involved in voting. And I heard one young man say just yesterday, and I felt some type of way, but he didn't know I felt that way. He was talking about the choices, and he talking about, well, I'm probably not even going to vote. I just looked at him like, really? Really? I said, no, you shouldn't have told me that, because I was liking you there for a minute. No, I was enjoying our conversation, and then, but people have choices. They don't choose to do it. They can't say nothing.
That's right.
They can't say nothing when something go wrong. The president getting at it you don't like. Don't voice your opinion, because you was quiet when you should have spoke.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't speak, so don't say nothing now. And then if that person come back to me and saying something to me sometime next year, I'm going like, then they got to say, back up. Don't talk about nothing. Don't say nothing. Because we have an opportunity now to make the change that we want. And they were stating that, well, neither one of them are good candidates. I'm like, well, maybe your wife might feel that way, but she's still with you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's trying to make you laugh. But I'm just saying, don't do that, because there are good qualities in each one of them.
That's true.
And for whoever wants to pick which side. No, let me go back. But there are good qualities. Mm-hmm. But anyway, let me get back to the questions.
Right. But to show you how, so for that young man you ran into, right?
Mm-hmm.
To show you how important every single vote is.
Mm-hmm.
Al Gore in the 2000 election lost the state of Florida by 537 votes.
Wow.
Out of all of the millions upon millions of people who vote every year, mm-hmm. in that particular election, 537 votes decided on the rest of those votes for the Electoral College to go to George Bush, and he won 537. So every single vote counts. And if your vote didn't count, why has so much been done to take our votes away?
Right.
So your vote definitely does count.
True, true. I have a question here. It was asking me, did he say why he was not going to vote? He said because he said it's not a good choice. Neither one of them. And I was going, well, okay, since it's not a good choice. So whatever happens in America after the voting process and you don't like what's going on, nothing you can say.
And that's an entire ballot lost, which we'll based on the questions, we'll get into that. But that's we'll bring that young man back up to speed in a minute.
Okay. All right. My next thing I want to say, we've seen people placing ballots in drop boxes and people standing in line. What's the difference between early voting and absentee voting?
There literally is no difference in today's day and age. There used to be a difference for people such as myself or actually yourself. As a military spouse based in Germany, when you were there, you would have received what's called an absentee ballot because you were outside of the country at that time. You and all of the voting, the members of your family that are voting age. The mail-in ballot is usually reserved, historically it's been reserved for people who have sicknesses or illnesses or are shut in, people who were working or something like that. Some states call it absentee all the way across the board. Some states call it mail-in. This year, because of COVID-19, it's literally joined together and it's called the absentee or mail-in ballot. So they're literally one and the same. Per se, they do the same thing. It's just depending on the situation that you're in and the state that you're from, it may be called something different.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hopefully my audience got all the information because we really need to know those things. And I know that would have been some questions that maybe somebody didn't know.
Now,
thank you for answering that.
Now, on that note, I do want to stress, don't take what you can if you choose to. Some people, because I had to correct someone in my town of this the other day. Some people are planning to take their absentee or their mail-in ballot to the polls on November the 3rd. If you do that, it will just be a tool for you to use to transpose that information into the actual voting machine.
Right.
But on November the 3rd, if you go to the polls, you will do a live vote. You will not have to take your absentee ballot and put it somewhere. And by all means, do not take your absentee or your mail-in ballot, drop it in a box, and then go and vote, because then you will cancel yourself out. Once they see that your voter registration ID has been used more than once, both of those votes will be invalid.
Right.
One time. That's it. Just vote once.
Just once. Don't do it twice. Just once. There are so many commercials and email, text messages about early voting. What if your state's early voting has already passed the deadline to turn in your ballot? What do you do?
So in that regard, we will see you at the polls on November 3rd. Do not use that as an excuse not to vote. We with COVID, thanks be to God, we are blessed and a lot of us are doing the right thing. But if you can go to work, if you can go to the mall, if you can go to the grocery store, if you can go get the mail, if you can go wherever you go outside your house, you can take that risk and go that day on November the 3rd to cast your ballot.
Yes. Do that.
That's right.
That, yes. By all means, do that.
Now, some states, such as mine, for example, in New Jersey, according to our voting rules, you can mail in an absentee ballot up to 8 days after the election. Okay. Do not take that chance. Don't take that chance by far, because what will happen is those extra ballots are only used in case of a close call race. Some ballots are intentionally held back in case they are needed to actually make a call one way or the other. If it's a real tight race, then they have these special ballots that they go into these reserves,
Yeah.
where they will open those up and say, okay, now, okay, based on these reserves, this person is the true winner. But we don't even want to get in a situation like that. We want every vote to just be counted either before the 3rd or on the 3rd, so that there are no issues and hiccups, because we already see in the news and in the media and from the current administration's own mouths that they are not going to go peacefully into the night, that there will be an issue with this count. So the more people that vote early, the more people that vote correctly, the better off we are, because then the tail of the tape is already done.
That's right. That's right. Make sure you do that. Make sure. Oh my God, because they're looking for something to go wrong.
Anything.
So we want everybody to, cross every T and dot every I in your voting this year, because you want to be counted. Yes, I know I do. What do you say to people that are still thinking about going instead of definitely going to vote? They're thinking about voting, but not definitely going to vote. They say they're thinking about it. What do you think about that?
So this we can address the young man that you spoke to. So, okay, you have a lot of people who say, well, I don't believe in either candidate, so I'm not voting. Okay, so then you don't cast a vote. But that means you didn't vote for the president.
Right.
You didn't vote for your Congress or Senate person.
Right.
You didn't vote for whatever the local elections have in your local city or town.
You can't complain about it.
You didn't vote for whatever the propositions are that are on the ballot. For example, in our state, legalizing marijuana is one of the things that's on the ballot, as well as reducing home ownership taxes for peacetime soldiers. They already do it for soldiers that have fought in wartime. Now it's on the ballot to be reduced by any soldier at all who served. If a person does not vote, you miss the opportunity to vote for all of those other things. So you can, if you choose to, you can choose to not vote for the president. You can do that.
And just go down the list.
But all of those other things, you definitely need to cast a vote for, because I know a lot of people that don't want to vote for either candidate, but they care about their local government. So that is your opportunity to cast change about your local government. Definitely need to vote.
Now, this is what I don't understand. You live in America, and you got to stay in America, but you don't want to vote for who is ruling America.
It's systemic.
It can be even some of the things you don't like that one is doing, but you can like some of the things that the other one is doing. Both of them can't be that bad that you don't want to vote for neither.
But Tammy, you got to remember something. The reason that I don't like liver to this day is because I was forced to eat liver as a child. It's embedded in my brain. Nate does not like liver, because Sharon fed us liver and succotash about twice a week for a while there back in the day. Love you, Mom. Hate liver. Because of that, I don't like it. Some people have, it's been systematically embedded in them from the civil rights era that your vote doesn't count, and that there's nothing that you can do to make changes. People in my own family, some of them have passed on, some of them are still living, don't believe that their vote actually matters. Now, some of them, even believing that it didn't, they still would go and cast a vote and then talk trash about it all night. That I don't know why I went down there, that ain't gonna do nothing. But the thing that we now see is that it does make a difference. Your vote does make changes. You do need to cast that vote. Many people in the tens of thousands have died, bled, and shed too many tears, been holes with too many water holes, had too many dogs sicked on them for us, especially as African Americans, to not vote. For African American women, some of y'all need to be busting down the poll lines as soon as they can, because again, it took so many things to get women, and especially African American women, the right to vote.
That's true.
So we need to exercise that right, because your vote does count. It was embedded in us back in the day, but you know what? Today's a new day.
That's
and
right.
We're smarter than what we used to be. And we need to vote.
We need to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, let's vote, people. Let's vote. You know, like I said before, I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to vote. Yeah, maybe there's a lot of things that I don't like about this person or that person, but it could be one thing. But I tell you what, it's a lot of things I don't like about the other party.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a lot that I don't like about the other one, hey, that's my vote right there. And I want to give an opportunity for my granddaughter, my grandchildren to come along that's coming. You know, we got to keep the cycle and keep things in perspective. I'm not going to just vote for one party just because he's saying this, that pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm for life. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for abortion or however you want to do it or whatever. I'm not for that either. But that won't be the only cause that I will vote for you. Because I feel like this. If you are pro-life, why so many people are getting killed in the street?
Exactly.
There should be something said and something done to spare that life. But
so I'm doing the show today instead of from the conference room in my building. I'm doing the show from my actual apartment because it's so loud downstairs, because there's a protest going on right now as we speak.
wow.
The mayor is leading a protest about police brutality, based on not just what's happening in the States, but with what's going on in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, even in our city, our own mayor is out there like, listen, you have to be against police brutality. It's wrong no matter how you see it. But he also says that you can be pro-life. That's fine. You can be pro-life.
Yes.
Be pro every life, not just the unborn, but the born, the grown.
The life that is already here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have no compassion for that life, but you have a compassion for a life that haven't even entered into the world yet.
Absolutely.
Life that is already here. There are people that are involved in that life. There's people that care about that life. There's people that depends on that life. But you're not thinking about that life. Oh, they did a crime, so they do it. Oh, they don't matter. Yes, they do. Life matters. Either way you go. So that wouldn't be the only reason why I would vote. And yes, I am a Christian, and yes, but that's not the only way. No.
It's funny that the person who is trying to ride the pro-life train never claims to be a believer, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's another conversation, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. What if people don't like, we just talked about that, either candidate that's, okay, I'm going to skip that one. We already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So my next question is, the other election get mixed in with presidential elections.
Yes, they do.
How should people prepare to vote for the other boxes in the ballot? How should they do that? I know, for an example, when we walked up there, and I never seen this happen since I've been voting.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us a sheet with everybody's name on it, an example sheet that we can see what was what. Everybody was on it. And I was like, ooh, I like this. So by the time we got in there, everything was like, okay, there it is. If you want to vote for this person, there it is. If you want to vote for that person, there they are. But you had the list already there.
Some states do that. A lot of states don't. but I mean, we live in a digital age, so everything is available online. So, for example, if you have not voted yet, you can literally Google the election in your state.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what's on the ballot, and you can look up all of those people's whose names you see that you don't know.
Right.
For example, I've been in connections and talks with my state representative. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of my friends knew him. I didn't know him until I Googled him and saw what he was about and what his agenda was and so forth. And he's running this time. And he, although as an incumbent, he does have someone running against him.
Mm-hmm.
However, I liked his policies and things. And so I voted for that gentleman. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
Just you can Google them and know ahead of time who you're going to vote for.
Yeah.
You can actually even go to your state's either, again, vote.gov
Mm-hmm.
or vote.org, and you can vote USA. No, I'm sorry, vote.gov or USA.org, and you can look at the sample ballots by your state.
Okay.
To see exactly what's going to be on there. If you don't want to do that, if you don't look at the websites themselves, you can literally in a Google search, who's running for election in my area, and based on Google being able to know where your phone is through the navigation, it will tell you who's running on the ballot. It'll tell you from the president all the way down. It'll give you all the information about the candidates that you need to know.
Yeah.
And if you don't, there will always be people outside of polling stations saying, here, vote for this one, or hey, vote for that one. That can be good and bad, as we saw what happened with this thing in Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
where people are being suppressed through their email and being intimidated, rather, not suppressed because they weren't physically there, but they're being intimidated to only cast a vote a certain way. Well, you can know before you ever even step foot in the door, or before you fill out your ballot, you can look and Google all of these people and know who they are.
That's good. That's good. Good information there. Good. Great information. I'll even say, I've been seeing an ad on TV here concerning senators that are running in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I was so glad to see that. I did my research on him. I said, oh, okay, you will be the one that I will be voting for. And everybody that was standing in line behind me, which was my children and my husband, I said, here he is right here, to make sure that we get our vote in for them, for him to be the senator that is going up for Georgia. Because we need to get some senators in there, everything. We just can't just change the president and don't change Congress.
No, because then that's how you end up with a situation like we have right now in DC, where the courts are stacked, where if Joe Biden does get into office, unless there's a massive overchange in the Senate,
yes,
he's going to have the same problems Obama did in his second term.
Right. And a lot of them are at the point now where they can be voted out. So
that's right.
Please look in your local areas and see who you can get in there. They can be voted out.
Yes, they can.
Yes. We was just talking a little bit about that today. How someone being there so long, they need to give them a term. Just get in there and just get to stay forever.
Well, Tammy, that's kind of our fault.
I know.
Because the Senate term is only 2 years.
Right.
That's it. So if we voted, then, some of them wouldn't. I mean, some of them are the party's picks, and they're going to do what they can to get behind them. But there's strength in every vote. There's strength in numbers. Yeah. I don't care how many billions of dollars are behind one person or another. If the people are tired of that person and the people vote, that person will go away.
Right. I'm just glad. I'm kind of glad that things went the way it went for this president to come into office, because I believe it made everybody get double vision.
Mm-hmm.
we begin to see right, like, oh my God, I got 2020 right now because I see everything is in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got to pay attention to all of it. We got to do the Senate, we got to do the House, we got to do our local government, we got to
That's
do
right.
all of it. So this opened up our eyes to say, you just don't do it at the top. You got to do the bottom, the middle, all of it, because it all works together.
It all works together. The president is not the one who makes the laws.
Right.
It's the Congress and the Senate. That's who makes the actual laws. Your
Yeah.
minimum wage in your state, Congress and Senate. Police, the lack of control over the police, Congress and Senate. The laws that are needed, that were needed when people wanted same-sex marriage and marriage equality, that was Congress and Senate. All of those things, yes, some of that went through the executive branch, through the justices, through the Supreme Court, but it went to the Supreme Court, which got the attention of Congress and Senate. A bill was written and passed into law. That happens only at the Congress and Senate. The president does not have the power to write a law. It still has to go through the Congress and Senate, which they can actually veto.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, the president can receive a law from Congress and Senate, veto it, and they can outvote his veto by a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
It's your congressmen and your senators, your state representatives, your governors. Those are the ones who are key in making day-to-day decisions that govern our lives, not the president.
Wow. Oh, yes, I have something here. We keep hearing about voter suppression. What is that? And can you give us an example?
So I'll give you one of the simplest ones that most people will not think is voter suppression. It's almost like hidden racism. Some people say, oh, well, that wasn't, they didn't mean anything by that. That was just slight. That was just something simple. So for example, you come home one day, you check your mailbox. In there's a ballot. And it's a Democratic only ballot or a Republican only ballot. And then a couple days later, in the regular mail, you get a ballot from your state. That's voter suppression. Which ballot do you fill out?
Yeah.
Which ballot do you mail in? Which one do you actually turn in?
Right.
It's voter suppression because it's confusing to the voter.
Yep.
And it actually takes away your right to choose. That takes away the split ticket ballot. The ballot that you get from the government, from your state, is a full ballot that has the Republicans as well as the Democrats on it, so that you can choose between parties. But a Democratic ticket or a Republican ticket only limits you from seeing any of the information about the other party. There may be a Republican senator that it really has your best interest at heart as far as you're concerned, and you may want to vote for that person. You won't see that on a totally Democratic ticket. So that in itself is voter suppression. Another means of voter suppression we saw in Texas, and thank God to the people of Houston for their patience and for their tenacity and for their fortitude to say, you know what, I'm gonna bring my lawn chair and my water, and we just gonna be here until I can go in this building and cast my vote, because they had very few voting machines in the Democratic neighborhoods for tens of thousands of people to use.
Wow.
When asked about it by the media, they said, these are the machines we have. We didn't expect this many people to vote, but it is actually your local municipality's responsibility to have enough voting machines based on the registered voters in their areas. And some of them do that and some of them don't. For example, where my sister lives in Michigan, in West Bloomfield, or West Beverly Hills is what I like to call it, because She bougie. No, let me stop. Where she lives,
Okay, there's that.
Sharita she can walk in at any time. There's never a line. There's tons of machines. They even have coffee and donuts and pastries to give to the people.
Okay.
Whereas some places here in Newark or
Mhm.
on the Lower East Side of Detroit
Mhm.
or somewhere probably about in Atlanta, I can assume, but in Newark and Detroit, I know firsthand,
Mhm.
you'll get to those schools and churches and there may be 3 machines for about 5,000 people.
Yeah.
That is voter suppression. They don't want a lot of people to vote. The
Mhm.
president just said it himself a week ago. If you have too many people voting, then you'll never see a Republican in office ever again, is what he said out of his own mouth.
Really?
Literally encouraging
Mhm.
the suppression, stop people from voting.
Mhm.
So that's voter suppression. So multi-ballots in the mail, the lack of machines at the polling center, the lack of people to operate the machines at the voting center.
Really?
It makes no sense that some polling centers have to close down so that the poll workers can go to lunch because they don't have enough people.
Right.
So what if their lunch is the same time as your lunch?
True.
Then you just missed your whole opportunity to vote. Now you're chasing the clock after you get off work trying to get there.
That's
Those are examples of voter suppression, and there's many more, up to and including there have been some places where people with armed weapons have been standing outside, not bothering nobody, but just there to let you know that they're there, to feel their presence, so to try to intimidate you from voting for another person.
Wow. Well, it was pretty much told to do that,
Yes, they were.
but
Yes, they were.
I haven't seen none here. Thank God for that when we went to vote. But I did notice something you just said though.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't too many machines in there.
See. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Didn't notice that when I was standing there. I was looking to see how many. I'm like, really?
And they're looking for you to not be patient and to give up and say, I'm just leaving.
Get up here in this big building. It was a huge building. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Oh, okay.
They want you to give up and just say, it's too long. I'm not going to stay here. I'm leaving. My vote don't count anyway. Bye. It counts.
But we want you all to know that your vote do count.
Mm-hmm.
We had a question here. Sharita had a question. Do you see it on your end, Nate?
I don't see it at all, actually. I can't see it on my side.
You hit on the what's the button? The comment box, then you'll see it. It should be on the side.
Nope. I just have the you talking on the Facebook page?
No, it's on the Tammy Talk Show page.
Right. Let me see. Nope, I cannot see it.
It moved up, but she'll send it to me again. Send it again. Okay, my next question is for people that have decided to vote in person on November the 3rd, what advice would you give them?
My advice is very simple. The same precautions that you take throughout, that you've taken throughout moving about during COVID-19, make those precautions, but do it early. As we said a couple of Tammy Talk shows ago, treat this election like it's Black Friday.
Yeah.
Just get up in the morning, go to bed early the night before, get up in the morning, eat before you go.
Take a lunch.
Take some water with you just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Do whatever you have to do. Keep your sanitizer, wear your mask. Take a mask for a buddy in case the person next to you doesn't have one and that bothers you. Do all the precautions that you need for COVID, but add extra time just in case there's a problem with the polling center, whether it's, as you ran into, Tammy, whether it's not a lot of machines or not a lot of people working. You never know what issues you're going to have for this particular election. So be prepared for everything.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom beforehand. If you know that you have issues in that department, take somebody with you to hold your place in line while you go, so that you don't lose your place.
Right.
And just make sure at all costs that you cast your vote.
Right.
That would be my advice.
Yes, because like I said earlier, I had a lot of people to say they're going to go that day, but I didn't want to take no chances at going that day.
Not at all.
Long line. I'll get the long line now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got in the line, it was kind of long, but I got up in there though. I was gonna stay there, but I told my husband we have to get my little picnic chair. In the picnic chair, pick it up each time I move, because I was gonna get my vote in. And I just want us to encourage people. It doesn't matter who you're voting for, just vote. But it does matter who you vote for, but just vote. Please vote, because every vote does count.
Every vote counts.
Nothing what you're hearing on the news, nothing what the people are saying that are coming across from the people in the White House or the house across the street or whatever. Don't let anybody stop you from putting in your vote, because you are helping America make a decision. So be a part of the decision.
Be a part of the decision. That was very well said. Yes.
Just don't let it stay like it is. Be a part of the decision where you can say, well, my vote counted. And, even as I was talking about a while back, how I think the last time when we was on here, and I was saying how they were saying President Obama, when he was in there, he didn't do much here, do much for the United States. But we have just already talked about that. The reason why he couldn't do as much as he could, because he did not have Senate that was Democrat, and he didn't have the House that was Democrat. So he had to come to the middle with them, and they wasn't willing to come to the middle with him.
As we see, there is no middle with them.
No.
At all. We have a second stimulus package that we're waiting for that proves that. We see that the Republicans and Democrats, it's gotten a lot worse than what it used to be. Yeah. Usually in the first 100 days of the presidency, there's a unwritten leniency that they do, kind of an honor system. Whatever this person tries to do in the first 100 days, we want them to be successful. So we'll play nice in the sandbox and we'll go ahead and pass some things. But literally, in some cases over the years, on that 101st day, they pump the brakes. And if it becomes all about what's in it for me.
Right.
And if it's nothing in it for them,
right,
then it goes away, or they block it, or they fight it. We can look at the current situation that we're in now with the Supreme Court. Barack Obama tried to approve someone 9 months before the election, and the Senate blocked his nomination, saying that it's an election year, you can't do that.
True. Yeah.
Yet this time around, the same individual who said that to President Obama, the same exact person said, "Oh, it's our right, it's our duty to elect a new person into office."
Now it's their duty, but it wasn't their duty then.
It wasn't their duty then.
It wasn't their duty because it wasn't the right president. This is a question I want to ask you. It's not one of my questions that I have here, but I just want to ask you and my audience that are listening. Do you all think that when President Obama was in there, do y'all think it had a lot to do with his race as to why he didn't get the people on? I'm just asking the question. I don't know, because I already know my opinion. Do you think that he was too smart for them? Or do you all think that it was just political? Because the reason why I said that his race, or that he was too smart because he came into an economy that had plummeted.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of believe they was thinking that once he get in there, it was gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't fail.
No, it did not.
Wouldn't you be happy that it didn't fail because you're a part of America?
You would think so. But in the game of politics, it's all about what you can do, what makes you look good, what gives you light. Um, so as far as the first portion of what you said, um, oh, my father was not the biggest believer in Barack Obama.
Hmm.
He said that he along with a lot of other people, they felt that he was just light enough to have the position.
Hmm.
If you can read between the lines,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of people that felt that way.
Hmm.
Um, the man was a law professor at Harvard University, the Harvard University.
Yeah.
Many people are not.
Right.
so,
Right.
so obviously, this man, in all of whatever issues people tried to say he had as a young man, this man
Hmm.
is a smart person and he
Yeah.
cares. And
Yeah.
although I have not agreed with all of his policy and politics, I would
Hmm.
never say that he does not care.
Right.
There are some people that believe that, oh, well, he had a choice between the housing market crashing and fixing Wall Street. He did not have a
Right.
choice between the two. You got to fix Wall Street because of what was handed to him. We
Right.
were fighting a war that lasted way longer than it should have. We were in debt for that. We
Yeah.
had Wall Street literally crashing over deregulation under the Bush administration that
Hmm.
let them literally run rampant over there to
Hmm.
where one person caused the entire housing collapse. One individual ran Fannie and Freddie $6 trillion in debt, and his only punishment was a $489 million bonus when he was forced to retire.
Mm. Mm.
These are the type of things that Obama was handed when he got
Right.
into office.
Right.
So of course you have to fix that first to
Right.
get the economy stabilized and
Hmm.
get people viable enough to be able to afford to either repurchase their home or afford to buy a home, or at a minimum have sustainable housing for themselves. So
Right.
what did he do? He came into office and then he did what a lot of people don't talk about or have forgotten about. I
Hmm.
have a close friend that I call my brother who's an example of this. He
Hmm.
did the HUD tax cuts, where he was paying people $8,000 in tax credits to buy HUD homes and refurbish them.
Yeah.
People were buying houses for $1,000. The government gave you 8,000. That gave you $7,000 to be able to renovate the home.
Yeah.
These are things that he did to try to offset housing because he couldn't do that much because of how much he had to give to General Motors, to Chrysler, to the banking system in
Yeah.
order for us to still have something called the United States of America.
Right.
Notice I didn't say Ford Motor Company. They were the only branch. I'm sorry, they were the only one of the auto division of the automotive industry rather in this country that did not take money. They rather restructured like a lot of other companies could do.
Hmm.
But
Wow.
yes, they didn't want to work with him. He had the keys to the castle to fix
That's right.
problems,
Right.
not just let them linger so that we can continue to write bills and continue to lobby and continue to get money on
True.
behalf of broken issues. It's
Hmm.
in the military we call it a class 3 leak. What
Hmm.
a class 3 leak is if you see that your Humvee or whatever vehicle you're driving is leaking oil,
Yeah.
you fix it, or either
Right.
that vehicle is taken out of service. What a lot of politicians like to do is they fix at the problem. instead
True.
of completely fixing the problem so that it doesn't become a problem anymore. But there's no politics in that.
Right, right. I don't care what anybody say. I think he done a good job, especially saving this economy when he got in. And
Hmm.
people say, I never see anything that he did. Oh, you wasn't looking. And it was a lot more that he could have done if he could have had the right people standing beside him. But when you
That's
got
right.
against you and they holding the mighty pen in their hand, there's nothing else you can do. But he did a good job, and I do believe that the president that is there now, he came into a good economy. He did not make this economy like it was. He came into a good one, and how it is now,
And just to explain to your listeners, Tammy,
hmm
another misconception that keeps being brought out in the media:
Come on, say it.
people coming off of unemployment
Hmm
and going back to work after furlough
Yeah.
is not job creation.
No, it's not.
That is a person going back to work in a
Yeah.
position that already existed.
Yeah.
Job creation would be if a person opens a new business,
hmm
if one of those businesses that got the PPP loan were able to sustain themselves and hire more people,
Yes.
that's job creation.
That's job creation.
The current administration is taking claim for job creation based on unemployment numbers, which the unemployment numbers are only what they are. They're only dropping the way they are for two reasons. Number one, people are getting called back to work, thank
True.
God. But on the other end of the stick, on the other side of the coin, people's unemployment is being cut off and
Right.
terminated.
Yes. True.
So they're not back to work.
No.
No job was created for them,
No.
but their case gets added as job creation because that's one less person on unemployment.
True.
And it is completely, it's a false bias. It is or it's a false positive, I should say. They are
Yeah.
taking credit for something that they did not do.
And it don't even exist because you
Nope.
did. Mm. Because I know a lot of people that was on it and they had to come back to work, even on my job. They had to get off of it because it ran out and they had to come back to work. So they
Mm-hmm.
go back to the same jobs that they left. It wasn't like
Exactly.
something was created. Yeah, we know better because we know better. We know. It doesn't matter how they try to paint the picture. You might try to paint it green, and I know it's pink. It's still pink. You
Still
can try to
pink.
paint it green. When I look at it, it's still pink. So I'm glad that we have some intelligent people that are in the United States that knows better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any final words you would like to say to us? And we know we're getting close to the voting days. We got 12 days left to vote.
12
So,
days.
any final thoughts you would like to leave with us? Something you need to tell the people?
Well, first off, Tammy, I want to thank you for these three segments that we've done. I want to thank you for educating the people and for finding it in your heart to
Yeah.
see this as an important issue.
Mhm.
There are a lot of talk shows, there are a lot of gossip columns, there are a lot of radio shows that talk about the vote maybe for 5 or 10 minutes in a segment,
Mhm.
not dedicate the entire show to such an issue. So I
Yeah.
want to thank you for having it in your mind and your heart to do that, because voting is important. It is our civic duty. It is something that if we don't do it, then we can't actively affect change. We affect change by voting. That's how our voices are heard. So I first want to thank you, Tammy, for doing that and for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
Before we go, I have another question.
Okay.
This question here. I see someone posted one. What does Nate think about the FBI announcement yesterday? I was going to ask you that at the beginning, but I said I was going to save it to the end. I'm so glad somebody put it up there.
Okay.
You to put it up there.
Was the question that got lost?
No, this is another question that she's
Okay. I think that it's very ironic that we're at the again at 12 days to the race, and here we are with some more emails.
Mm.
We, it's like, we keep pulling out emails, and the thing is, even if it is, let's say on a negative side, it's all true.
Mm-hmm.
That Hunter Biden was out there gallivanting the globe, using his father's name to get rich. Oh wait, am I talking about Hunter Biden or Donald Trump Jr.? I'm sorry, I don't know which one, because when you really explain it,
right,
it's kind of what they do. But let's say it is true. Hunter Biden was not on the ballot I filled out today.
True.
Hunter Biden is probably not going to be cannibalized from the family into the president's cabinet, because nobody else wants to work with him. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, in his 47 years of service, which trumps 47 months, in his 47 years of dedicated service to the people, he has made alliances that I'm sure, making a cabinet, he won't have to go into his family to get connections so that somebody will work with him.
Right.
So I think that it's just a ploy, just like a negative campaign ad, to try to add doubt, to people for him. That adds to that whole lesser of two evils thing that some people say. It's not a lesser of two evils at all. What it is it's vote for who you want in office, because these are your options. It's almost as if you're going to buy a new dress or a new shirt, and you went there looking for black, but all they have is white and red, but you need that dress. You're going to pick one of those colors. You pick the color that appeals to you the best.
Yeah.
So it's a ploy. It's and I find it very ironic that although it kind of could help the Trump campaign, there's rumors throughout the White House that he's talking about, if he wins, one of the first things he's going to do is fire the head of the FBI.
Right.
So it's like, here he is, he's firing yet another person because
the head of the FBI right after the election. So if he still be in there, because he don't get out of that to January, he's gonna fire the man. I'm like, wow. And this was because they did a special report yesterday. Did you see that one?
Yes, ma'am.
And they came on and said, oh, wow, we just seen something come from Russia. And
no,
like, you just saying that? Come on now.
No, not at all.
It's this is because they're trying to go to. They're gonna try to. What's the first man said? They're trying to make the people not want to vote for President Trump. I said, really? And it's on and on and on. But when it first came on, I just all ears. When they started talking, I said, oh, this is my little word that I say. This is my talk show, so I can say that. When I sat there and looked at it, I looked at my husband. Honey, are we being punked? Because that did. I was like, really? You stopped the show that I was watching to say this? Then my husband told me to go up the other channels. It wasn't on all the stations. I said, this is not really nationwide. So then I went to, I got to say CNN. I said, I went to CNN. I said, they don't have it either. I said, okay, but I kept on listening. But after I heard what they was trying to say, I said, really? Really?
See, I
knew that.
Try to stay,
I knew that. You didn't even have to put that on the news.
To try to not be biased, I watch the left and the right's news reports.
I went to theirs.
And the funny thing about it is they both were saying the same thing. Now, on a side note, the elephant that was in the room yesterday was the exit polls that came out showing Biden leading in every single one. So there are some times that some stations will put up certain reports to distract you and detract you from seeing what's actually going on. It's not by happenstance that what's happening in Nigeria hasn't been more publicized over here. Now, I'm a firm believer in taking care of home first, but my heart goes out and hearts and prayers, because most of us can trace our roots back to there anyway. But they will always do something to take away from what actually is going on.
Yeah.
And the real news yesterday was that, yes, Trump is leading in some states, but when it comes to the majority of the states and the all of the swing states, every last one, including the swing states that he won in 16, when it comes to the closest to the 170 electoral votes that we talked about before, because I'm sorry, 270, that's what wins.
Yeah.
Biden's killing him. He's killing him. He will lie. Tonight at the debate, he's going to say that he's winning. He's not.
Yeah.
His own network said he isn't.
Right. Wow. But we don't want nobody that is getting lax on hearing about these polls to not go and vote. Vote. Please vote. Okay, I can't say her first name. I'm just gonna say her last name. Crawford. Your mother?
Yes.
I'm not gonna call her by her first name. I never have and never will. Okay. She said, if you send in your ballot, make sure you sign it.
So this is it's something that is so important, and it's actually one of the first things one of the last things that you do. For example, on the absentee ballot that I filled out, I did the ballot itself. So, like the little cat test we used to take, you put the circles in there and you vote for whoever you're going to vote for. And then that ballot goes into an envelope. The envelope that it goes into, you have to secure it and you have to sign it saying that you are the person that filled that ballot out. Now, here comes more voter suppression. Now, it does make sense that if you don't sign the ballot, it's not valid. You have to sign it for it to be a valid document. My mother's right there.
Yes.
However, in some states, mostly out west, that signature has to be exactly the same signature you used when you signed your first voter registration when you registered to vote.
Right.
So you have to dig in the crates of your mind and remember as close as you possibly can to the signature, because as we get older, our signatures change. Right. I know I used to sign my entire name. My name is very long. Thanks, Mom. So sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll use my initials. I'll do N.T. Crawford, and that's my signature. But my full name was on and I'm even wrong with that. My first name, my middle initial, and my last name is what I signed my voter registration card with the first time. So that is the signature that I will always have to use. Otherwise, they will throw my ballot out. That is only in some states. I just don't take the chance.
I put my whole name in there. And, all my little life, when I was in school, I didn't want to put those two M's in there, TAMMARA. I took one out. But do legal paper, I throw that thing right back in there.
That's right.
I do it. I spell it all the way, the long middle name and that long last name, because I want to make sure that, make sure, like she said, you sign it. Because if you don't sign them, they will throw them out.
That's right.
And then you think you thought you voted and you didn't vote. Then you're like, my candidate didn't win. Because you're one thing. I thought, let me stop.
That's right. You never know.
Never know. So make sure you sign them. I am so glad you came on tonight. I'm trying to see if I got any more questions here.
I know. I hate we lost Sharita's. I looked for it myself. I could not find it.
I couldn't either. Let's see if I can pull it on here.
And she didn't. Let me see.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it. But I'm so glad you came on tonight.
It's definitely my pleasure. I mean, it's so
Okay.
important.
What about the instant currying at the polls? How they got these instant boxes there? I recently saw someone set a box, put a drop box down there. Oh, set it on fire. She said she saw them set it on fire.
Is that
Polling box?
that unfortunately, in some places that does happen because voting is not. So think about it. If your vote didn't count, why are they trying to set your vote on fire? Why are they trying to stop you from voting? Why do you have Iran telling people in Alaska
Wow.
vote for Trump or die? Why do you have all of these things going
True,
on
true.
if your vote does not count? Your
Wow.
vote counts. Um,
Counts. Yes, it do.
I've been Tammy. I've been told that somewhere in there, Travella had a question.
Yeah, let me see. She said something about for women who get married late. That makes no sense. Okay, that wasn't a question. That's a statement she made.
So I'm again glad she brought that up because that's another. So that I call self-suppression.
Okay.
So there are certain responsibilities as we go through our lives
Mm-hmm.
that we need to do. If
Okay.
your name changes, you have to change your voter registration. If your name, the same way you change your address, you need to update your voter registration because every time you move, your polling center will change. If you don't update your address and your voting registration when you update your address, you will have to, like I told you, like I told the show the very first time we spoke about it, I had to leave in a hurry from New York City
Wow.
and
Yeah.
shoot up to Newburgh to go and vote because when I moved to New Jersey, I did not change my voter registration. So when it came time for me to cast my vote, 2.5 hours on the train, there I went. But I went. But if as life happens, as our names change, as we move, we need to update our voter registration the same way we update our mailing address and our driver's licenses and so forth.
That's true. So true. I see somebody made a comment on here too. Said South Carolina better vote Leslie Graham out.
It looks like that's happening. Actually, he's a little concerned. Leslie was on Fox News today, actually begging for campaign contributions. So it's not looking good for Leslie. But we have to do what we have to do, and at the end of the day, I heard a pastor say back in 2016, America will get the president that America deserves.
Yep.
And that same pastor, I wonder who said that. That same pastor also said that there is a healing that's needed.
Yeah.
And we've been through 4 years of madness.
Yeah.
And 2020 has been something else.
Mm-hmm.
But we can definitely affect change by dropping that ballot, by casting that vote, by doing what all of our ancestors could not do, by doing what those that have passed from COVID-19 cannot do.
Right.
We can honor them by casting our vote.
Right. Right. Wow. That hit me when you said that. Wow. That's something to think about.
Yes, ma'am.
People, we are voting for them also because nothing was done about this COVID. Nothing was done. And a lot of lives could have been spared.
Yes, they could.
Some family members have lost a large amount of people. I know someone here in Georgia. They went to a funeral of one family member, that died of natural causes. And a week later, the brothers and everybody was in the hospital, like, I think,
Oh no.
and they died. It just hit them boom, 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 just like that.
And
So it's
I
sad.
know people who are I actually was having a conversation with someone earlier today about personal choice. Oh, if I choose not to do it, then this is America, we're free.
Mm,
I should be able to do what I want to. It's not about you.
right.
It's about other people and keeping them safe. Should we be in this situation, Tammy? We shouldn't, because the pandemic playbook was already there. It was not followed.
Let me read something here somebody placed on here. They said, yet, okay, she said, you get the privilege to live here and accept the right to vote. So you need to vote if you live in here.
That's right.
You get the privilege to live here, so you need to vote.
If you pay more than $750 in taxes, vote. If you pay less than $750 in taxes, vote. If you pay taxes, period, vote. If you have children in school, vote. Because all of those things affect every part of your day-to-day life. You have to vote.
It affects everything. If you own a house, vote.
Like I said, on our ballot here in New Jersey, one of the things that we're voting for, one of the propositions on there is, do we or do we not give tax breaks to peacetime soldiers when it comes to their housing? And absolutely, I'm as a soldier myself, I'm all for that. But imagine if I didn't vote. I wouldn't. My vote might help one of my brothers or sisters in arms to be able to reduce their property taxes on their home, especially in a day and age like what we're living in now, with the wage gap getting as big as it is. Everybody needs all the help that they can get. But if you don't vote, you'll never even know that that's on the ballot.
Right.
And we're not the only state with those types of propositions. Read the propositions on your ballot, and the only way you're going to see it is if you cast one. You have to vote.
You have to vote.
Like I said, for those that can't do it, for those that chose to see, vote.
Vote. Please vote. At the end of the day, if we don't vote, if it go the other way, we have been living 4 years of hearing the lie being the truth. After a while, that lie if it get 4 more years, that lie gonna come so true.
I mean, when you're right, you're right.
It's just sad, you know when someone is lying to you. All of us do that. You know when someone is lying to you. They'll say something one day, the next day they'll say it's a different way, but you know what they said the same day, and then they back up what they say, and they know it's still a lie.
Or in some cases,
it's not going to change. There was something I was reading that Booker T. Washington had said. He was saying it's not about the person not about the person telling the lie. It's the people
who believe that lie.
Believing that lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem falls.
And that's where we are right now, because anytime a person can tell you, I'm going to repeal Obamacare, it's horrible, it's a disaster. Okay, what you going to replace it with? Crickets. Crickets. Oh, well, there's going to be a plan. I read an article today. It said that the current administration's healthcare plan is always 2 weeks away, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks away for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Gonna love it.
Gonna love it. It's gonna be the best ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we're 12 days away from an election, and now all of a sudden it's supposed to be unveiled miraculously at that point, just like the vaccine.
Right. Wow.
Just like all of the other empty promises that we've been made. At least with the Obama administration, we know why nothing happened that second term.
Right. But it's a lot of people don't understand why nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to educate you all that didn't know. And if you know somebody that said that President Obama didn't do anything those years that he was in there. Please replay this tape, this video to them, so they would know why nothing got done. He did what he could. He done a lot. Trust me, he done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Save the economy and all that, but those things that he needed change, he couldn't get those changes because he didn't have the people standing behind him.
That's right.
And he didn't have the House standing behind him. But now, somebody got the House now. Now we're working on the Senate, all right?
Yes, we are.
Let's work on it. Let's stand together. I heard them say this little thing that's coming on, divided. Somebody divided, we stand. No, you can't stand together when you're divided. Divided, we fall. I didn't know that we had people working at the top for us when I was growing up because I didn't understand the government that much. I took it up in school and I wasn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't listening until college. Then I started reading upon it. I thought those people will work together. I didn't think that one was against the other. It's just like black and white. It's just one against the other. No, we'll never get anything done like that. But we got to come together, be able to meet in the middle.
That's right.
Thing for change. And I believe that if we all vote, things will change. Again, Nate, thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on, definitely.
This conversation tonight. I'm sure my audience enjoyed it. I'm sure the people, they got a lot of information that they needed. And if you would like to share this video with your friends and family, share it. They would know we got 12 days.
12 days.
And we getting ready to get off and sign off right now so we can listen to the debate. And I hope this debate be better than the last debate, because the last debate I wanted to get on stage. Now I think you could do better than that. But hopefully this will be a good debate tonight. We'll get to see some things and hear some things. And I want you all to tune in, and we're going to come back next time. And I got to get Nate back when the election comes. Now, you got to come back.
Whatever you need me to do, Tammy, I'm always here for you.
And we're going to talk about it. We're going to enjoy it. So I thank you all for tuning in, my audience. I thank you so much. I can't call everybody's name because I might miss somebody. I don't want nobody mad. So everybody on here, I love you guys. I thank you for always tuning in for the Tammy Talk Show. I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy reading your comments and reading some of the questions, but they be going up so fast I don't catch them all. Again, Nate, thank you for coming on and sharing this great information to the people that some of us that didn't understand the government and how it operates, and we got a good idea on how it goes now and how the things work. And I'm so glad you came on to share this information, because on TV we get pieces. We get little bits and pieces. In school I missed a whole lot of it, but now we got a lot of it, and we thank you for sharing with us on today. And we're going to invite you back again. Yes, Mom Crawford, I love you. That's what I call her, Mom Crawford. I call her first name, no. But I thank you so much. I thank Travella for showing up. Yes, well, I just start calling names. I'm sorry. I thank you all for coming on. But tune in Sunday. I'll be on again at 6:30. I have a special guest that will be coming in on Sunday. The flyer will be going up tomorrow for you all to see who's coming on. Thanks again, Nate. Love you.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Stay
smart.
Ma'am. Stay smart like you is. Yes.
Thank you.
Got 2 smart kids, and I love you both. You both pour into my life, as y'all have said. I have done it to you all. But I thank you so much for being here for me, and thank you for coming to the Tammy Talk Show. Love you. Next time.
Next time.
Yeah.